Welcome back to the Quick Save Podcast. My name is Josh.
And I'm Alex.
And today we're talking about news.
We always love coming up with more of it. It just keeps piling on.
Yeah, I can't get enough of that stuff, man. I'll get us started here with Multiversus, which the beta for that just came out. You did not know what this was.
I had no clue.
Multiversus is the Warner Brothers crossover fighter, similar to Smash clone.
I feel like we just did an episode on that.
We did just do an episode. It's a relevant topic to us because we did just do an episode on Melee. There's a bunch of characters, like 17 characters right now, more coming out later this month. Rick and Morty, both of them, separate characters, are coming out August. Let's talk about it a little bit. Yeah. So,
tell me how I get my hands on this.
It's beta, open beta. How do I get it? You got to watch a stream for an hour and then they give you a key.
That's crazy.
That's it. Just watch the stream for an hour. I'll be honest, you don't even have to watch it. I've read tweets. People are like, yeah, I put the stream on, muted the tab for an hour while I did work, came back, boom, Multiversus key, ready to go.
Always a loophole somewhere in the way.
But it's the big draw here is it's free to play, which is exciting. You don't need to pay anything up front if you want to get in there and play Multiversus.
So I have both a hope and a I'm not so happy about that feeling when it comes to that free to play aspect.
Yeah, games should cost money, says Alex.
Oh, no, come on.
Capitalist.
Look, we all know where this leads, right? The fact that most free-to-play games are usually pay money to win, and the fact that they don't get enough support for what they could be.
Well, I've got great news for you, Alex, if you want to so dearly pay for Multiversus. $40, I believe it's $40 will get you all the character unlocks.
Also, I kind of just want that nice physical copy.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? It's just in beta if we support it enough.
I mean, Switch has empty cases that they give out with codes, right?
If we support it enough, and by that I mean give it enough money, then eventually they have to release a disc, right?
It's almost like they plan for this.
Right? So $40 will get you all the characters, and then there are cosmetics that you can pay money for. But that's it so far. There's no level up, make your character stronger by putting money in, swipe your credit card to make Mario stronger.
Who's developing this?
Hey man, great question.
Asking the tough questions over here.
Jeez man, yeah, I wasn't prepared for that one. Player First Games. I knew it was something like that, but yeah.
So, indie developer then.
Yes, somebody I've never heard of. Let's go see Player First Games. This is live research, folks. You're getting the good stuff.
Maybe this gets cut, maybe it doesn't.
It says it's a studio of veteran developers focused on serving players through the use of player-first thinking. Wow. Player First Games. Player-first thinking.
They're really going deep into this.
I want to see this. Who's here, man? I'm seeing pictures. There's pictures. Diverse cast of folks here.
Hideo Kojima just jumps out in the picture and be like, hey, guys.
That would be pretty wild. No, it's just Tony Huyn. I probably pronounced it wrong. Sorry, Tony. Chris White, John Diesta, Artak Avakian, Stefan Kovachev.
You're doing great. Kraft, keep it up, champ.
Katie Hancock, Liz Walmsley, Craig Louie, Vigar Buis, Ricky Lynn, and Kai Tran.
That's a lot of people.
It's kind of a lot of people. Oh, dude, it's veteran developers. Here, let me read you Tony's whole bio here. Tony's been a combat and systems designer and lead for 15 years on titles like God of War 3, God of War Ascension, and League of Legends.
Wow. That's notable titles.
So he's the CEO, and then Chris White's the CTO. Chris has over a decade of experience in game and platform development. He focuses on building and leading product-focused engineering teams.
Little did you know when you wanted to click on this podcast and take a listen that you'd be hearing some LinkedIn profiles.
And now here's the thing. If you're you look at Multiversus, you're the art kind of looks familiar. Well, let me talk about the art director, John Diesta. His most notable work was on Disney Infinity for the character designs and art direction.
Look at that.
This dude, he's getting a Disney paycheck and a Warner Brothers paycheck. My man John Diesta out here cashing it all, baby.
Putting his hand in many pockets.
Marvel paycheck from Disney Infinity, we take those. DC paycheck from Multiverses, we also take those. Get it, John. So let me talk about how the game's different than Smash. In a lot of ways, it isn't. It is pretty much Smash Brothers. But in some ways, it is. One of the main core focuses of the game is 2v2 matches.
2v2, not free-for-all.
So there are 3 kinds of matches, 1v1, 2v2, and then 4-player free-for-all.
Oh, all right. So we do have the Smash aspect.
Yeah, so that's an option, but what I've seen people playing and what I'm led to believe, it is primarily 2v2.
Interesting.
Which that's kind of, if one of the first trailers for the game showed that off where it was like, look, Shaggy and Batman are teaming up against Steven Universe and Arya Stark from Game of Thrones and Garnet from Steven Universe is fighting with Jake the dog from Adventure Time and Superman's teaming up with the Iron Giant, and it's like they literally
the Iron Giant.
You remember Space Jam 2 was coming out and everybody's like, wow, this is just like Ready Player One but for Space Jam.
Yeah.
This is just like Space Jam in that like Warner Brothers was like, remember when we did that movie and everybody cared way more about all the properties we put into the background than the actual movie with LeBron James we made? Well, they just were like, what if we made a game where all those characters fight? Speaking of, Mr. James himself is in the game. That's right. LeBron James.
What?
First real life celebrity to be put into a fighting game? Question mark? Maybe.
Shaq Fu enters the chat.
Maybe. Shaq Fu enters Shaquille O'Neal has come to reclaim his title. No, seriously, you think there's... I mean, how many other fighting games have, like, characters that are just, like, real guys? I mean, like, you know, the original Mortal Kombat guys were, like, real motion capture guys, but, like, It's not like Jean-Claude Van Damme. You know, we don't call him Jean-Claude Van Damme, right? He's Johnny Cage or whatever. I don't even remember if he actually did the thing for Johnny Cage. But, like, if you... Let's say you had... You know, Willem Dafoe came on and voiced the Green Goblin in... you know, a Marvel fighting game, right? Marvel versus Capcom or whatever, right? Even if Willem Dafoe did that, it's not like you're playing as Willem Dafoe, you're playing as the Green Goblin, right? This is just like I'm playing as NBA star LeBron James, which we've established. We've established with Shaquille O'Neal that is not the first time a basketball player has been entered into a realm of a fighting game.
Look, we talked about it on episode 10. Go check that out. But
seriously, is that it? It's like basketball players can get put into fighting games, but no other celebrities can. We can't put Willem Dafoe in. That would make no sense. Oh, sorry. Did you say NBA player? Pff, yeah, I could put the entire freaking...
Man, you play basketball, you can get into anything.
I could put all of the Detroit Pistons in this game and nobody would care. It would be totally fun. Nobody would bat an eye if I put the whole team in.
The whole team is just a single player unit.
It's like a group of guys. Pretty good.
Oh, it's the Ice Climber variant for the game.
No, I was going to say it's like Pokemon Trainer. You can like cycle through. You can cycle through all the different players.
So good.
But yeah, so they've got, again, the whole bit here is they're literally, I wouldn't say abusing, but finally using their backlog of IPs that they own: Game of Thrones, Steven Universe. And this is, I not to get into movie talk here too much, but I talked to people about this with the new Space Jam 2. Space Jam 2, LeBron James plays basketball with the Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes, even really a cultural touchstone for children anymore? Do we got like kids who run around being like, "What's up, Doc?" Probably not, right? I feel like the 90s was like
the last end of it.
Looney Tunes were still kind of like cultural touchstone. I was like, wouldn't it have made more sense? And Warner Brothers owns all this stuff. Wouldn't it made sense for LeBron James to play basketball with, like, you know, Jake the dog and Steven Universe is like slam dunking a ball with LeBron James? That would make more sense. I feel like kids would relate to that more. And Multiversus is taking a step in that right direction where it's just like, LeBron James is in it, Steven Universe is in it, Game of Thrones is in it, Batman's in it. So it's got DC stuff, it's got Scooby-Doo, Tom and Jerry. It's crazy. It is like they really did just reach all aspects of the things they own. There's something for everyone. Rick and Morty, Scooby-Doo, Game of Thrones. It's wild. But what really is drawing people to the game, because you're like, well, what's the difference from any other Smash clone like PlayStation All-Stars or Nick All-Star Brawl just recently came out, right? Well, this is really fluid. I hear it is very well polished. That's what the reviews are saying. It controls well. It feels like Smash Brothers in a good way, not just a rip-off way. But what really helps here is everything's voice acted. Some by original voice actors.
All right, so you're telling me that, the original voice actor for Shaggy's going to be in this then?
Matthew Lillard voices Shaggy. Kevin Conroy, who did Batman in the Arkham games and Batman the Animated Series, voices Batman.
All right, Jake's going to be in this. So are you telling me that Joe DiMaggio is going to be here?
Is it Joe DiMaggio?
I don't know. I can't remember his name. I'm not good with character or voice actor names.
We're reading John DiMaggio.
John DiMaggio.
We said Joe DiMaggio, right?
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's a baseball player from antiquity era baseball. But we could probably get Joe DiMaggio in, and I'd probably sports players, as we've established, are fair game. So let's get Joe DiMaggio in. Yeah, John DiMaggio, voice of Bender, voice of Jake the Dog, plays Jake the Dog. Maisie Williams, actress of Arya Stark in Game of Thrones, voices Arya Stark. This is crazy. They were like, I don't know what strings they had to pull, but they got some of like the original big name actors just to play their own characters in this game.
That's so crazy.
Which is amazing. And they have unique interactions. Like, if you play as Shaggy and you play as Batman, Batman will be like, Shaggy, we have to defeat the bad guys and take him to the Batcave. Like, they reference each other in their voice lines and stuff like that. It's awesome. It is, and that was something Nick All-Star Brawl had an issue with. There were no voice lines at the start, and there are now, but it feels so forced, and they say the same 3 over and over again. And I don't know. I like that they, it makes them feel a little more alive when they interact with each other. It's not just like, all right, this time you're going down.
Look,
it's like Harley, I'm sending you back to Arkham, and you're like, hell yeah, dude, Batman's gonna fight Harley Quinn now.
So the real question is that Shaggy's in this fighting game. We all know Shaggy's the most powerful character ever.
Are you challenging me?
Do we have Ultra Instinct Shaggy?
I believe one of his taunts references Ultra Instinct Shaggy.
Man, imagine there's some special move where he goes Ultra Instinct. And that'd be the greatest pull from pop culture ever.
Warner Brothers has been doing a really good job with stuff like this. There was a animated Mortal Kombat movie recently, and at the beginning, they had Shaggy in the Warner Brothers logo go Ultra Instinct before Scorpion was like, get over here, and fought him or something like that. But Warner Brothers has been really on top of their kind of metagaming, being tongue-in-cheek, yes, we know the memes as well. We've seen the tweets and what have you. But
I want to touch back here real fast. I've been kind of doing some off-screen research, and I was trying to see, we talked about Shaquille O'Neal being in the fighting game, now LeBron James. What other real-life entities have been within a fighting game?
You go ahead. I've got one after you, I think, but go ahead.
Let me tell you, I found the best one, in my opinion, because I don't know how we're going to top this.
Okay.
And let's see here. In Fighters Megamix, which I believe...
It's like a Capcom
Yeah, it's a Capcom game. I believe it's an arcade cabinet game, maybe.
That's the one where you could play as a car, right?
Yes, it's Hornet, which Hornet is a Daytona USA actual car.
A real car.
A real car.
I just want to say this about Hornet the car, also a sports entity. So, just saying, sports entities allowed into fighting games.
You'd have to have limbs. You could just have an engine and some gear oil and call it a day.
I have one. I think it's on Steam. It's called Battle of Gods or something like that. You fight as deities.
Okay.
Which kind of is controversial in its own way. You can play as Shiva. All the classics are there. Santa Claus. He counts as a god. We've established, of course. But then there's all these gods from different religions and stuff like that. Jesus is that we can establish.
No!
Jesus was a real man, I'm not going to debate whether he was the son of God or not, but he at least was a real person.
Where is this God? This is so far down the rabbit hole.
Sports players and Jesus. If you know any more real people that are in fighting games and don't the UFC wrestling, that doesn't count, right? We're talking Marvel versus Capcom Infinity, whatever. If there's a real character in a fighting game, let us know.
I love the fact that we were 2 basketball players and a NASCAR car. We're in a fighting game, and then it's just what's the next level? Oh yeah, Jesus was there.
You said I don't think anything could beat this, and I was like, I've got one thing I think that could beat that. I'm looking forward to this. Bring it back, actually, maybe to Multiversus would be good. I'm looking forward to this. Have you ever heard of Brawlhalla?
Yes, I played it a bunch. Yeah, it's a great game.
Super fun game. That was free to play. Brawlhalla's free to play. Smash clone. I like that game a lot. It is a little slower than Smash.
Got to be really good if you want to keep advancing and unlocking characters, though.
Yeah. So, and I mean, that might be the same way with this. You might be grinding. If you play free-to-play, you might be, grinding out. It's one of those things because you're going to grind out, in League of Legends or something like that. You should probably do some research about the characters and what movesets they are because you don't want to unlock, spend 30 hours getting enough in-game currency to buy a character, and then you buy Harley Quinn, and then you're like, she sucks. I don't want to play as her.
Yeah. I would say give it some time for people to play this and really spend some time on it.
Yeah, look up reviews, watch some stuff, go watch that stream for an hour, get yourself a key. But I've heard it's really fluid and controls very well, which is, I mean, that's kind of the most important thing. Like I said, playing Nick All-Star Brawl recently, because that was free on PlayStation Plus, I'm like, this is okay. It didn't, like, blow me away.
Yeah, I think the last Smash clone that I really enjoyed playing on was PlayStation All-Stars.
I had a lot of fun with Digimon Rumble Arena 2 as a kid, which is kind of an expensive game. It's like $150 on GameCube, of course.
Of course.
It's like a $50, $60, $70 game on Xbox and PS2. I had a ton of fun with that because you can Digivolve your guy. So it's like fighting people gets you enough experience to level up into like a stronger dude. And as you would fight, you would get stronger, which was awesome. I like that a lot. But anyways, that's my talk about Multiversus. Why don't you talk about Elden Ring?
Elden Ring's back, baby.
We love being the Elden Lord.
There we are, Elden Lords back in the house. Let's talk
Hold on. If you're an Elden Lord, raise your hand, please. Can I get a show of hands? We're both raising our hand currently now for reference.
We believe that you are too. Don't worry.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You don't need. Hey. This is a safe space. You don't have to get good here. We're all Elden Lords here.
We're all touching grass. Don't worry.
Exactly. We're all touching grass. So tell me about Elden Ring.
Interesting thing happened earlier this month, and that is the month of July that we are in.
Whoa, time warp. It's the month of August when you're listening to this. Wow, just blew your freaking mind right there.
Elden Ring devs had sent out a thank you to a player. And what player is that, you might be asking yourself? Why, that is none other than Let Me Solo Her. If that name sounds familiar to you, and it might not, it's perfectly okay if it doesn't, but Let Me Solo Her is a player in-game that has dual-wielding katanas, wears a cauldron on his head, and is completely naked in-game. Yeah, I think he has like a little loincloth thing. And he goes around and beats bosses for people that need help. Mm-hmm. That's all he does. And
who is this mysterious stranger in the night saving these lost souls?
His name is Klein Suboy, which I believe is how that would be pronounced. And the reason that he got recognized from software developers of Elden Ring was that he had beaten Millennia 1,000 times, helping others beat her along the way. Now, Millennia is the hardest boss in Elden Ring.
Yeah, I know a streamer, Dan Giesling, who I think streamed Elden Ring for the past, I don't know how long. I want to say like 3 months. He died 1,499 times. He beat Millennia on his 1,500th try. It took him literally months to defeat Millennia.
Patience of iron.
I think it was 1,500. It might have been 1,000, but it was like he played for months and could not beat it. So
you might be asking yourself as well now, well, why is he naked? Why does he have a cauldron on his head? What makes this so great?
And to that I say, touch grass. Get good.
Yeah, it's absolutely nothing.
If you know, you know.
His philosophy in game is, why would I need armor if I don't plan on ever getting hit?
That's exactly it. What an Omega Chad move. I don't need armor. Nobody will ever hit me.
Bandai Namco, from Software, sent him a care package, a promotional package of Elden Ring, where he received a personalized letter, a one-of-one, I believe, I haven't seen otherwise, but a one-of-one replica sword, which is made of real metal, of a sword that is in-game, a cloak from a character, and a giant, like, art book, essentially, that's, like, gold-binded and everything. He has pictures of it up on his Twitter. It looks immaculate, and it's just crazy that, you know, he's done so much to help others and just make himself a better player that the company and developers recognized him alone for doing a unthinkable thing.
I'm just saying, like, can you imagine, like, doing a summon, being like, hopefully this person can help me fight Millennia, and then just seeing, like, your god in shining armor says, let me solo her, and he just, like, beats Millennia for you, and you're like, oh my god. How can I repay you, stranger?
The other great thing is that, I don't know what he plays on. He might play on PC, I think. But he sends them a message every time that he goes and helps someone. And he goes, please wait, let me solo her. And that's all he says. So not only is his name Let Me Solo Her, but that's the message he gives to people.
That's so funny.
but he is wonderful enough to share all this with us and lots of pictures, lots of thanking. He thanked a ton of other players that he's like helped and that have helped him. Talked about his personal experience with the Dark Souls games and how he at one point almost quit because they were too hard. So I think that's a great motivation for people that are just like, I can't play any of the Souls games.
The game was hard, and he went in and owned the game.
Yeah, he powered through it. He said
nobody's stronger.
I think he said that Dark Souls 3 was the one that almost made him quit.
Interesting.
Which is just crazy. Let's kind of move on there.
Everybody's favorite 90s media franchise, Wallace and Gromit. It's The Simpsons. There's a fan who's making a mod that is a hit and run remaster, which is like, that's becoming like an expensive game. It's like a $40 PS2 game, something like that now. Simpsons Hit and Run was a game that came out on the PlayStation 2, I believe the original Xbox, and the GameCube. It's probably $1 billion on the GameCube because that's how the GameCube is. But it's kind of like a semi-open world, level-based adventure game where you play as Homer and Bart and Lisa. And
it's like a GTA clone, right?
I think Marge, maybe, for some of it. Kind of, yeah. So it's like mainly mission-based. So just very much like GTA in that way, but it'll be like, drive down to the Quickie Mart. Talk with a poo, and then go home. All right, you went home. Cutscene. Lore. Story. Now you need to go drive to the top of... You need to drive to work. Okay, Homer drives to work. And he goes, work. And then, you just kind of mess around, do missions and stuff. There's like a story. But it is... I mean, a lot of younger people, right? That was kind of their first interaction with that kind of style of gameplay, right? So, like, I mean, you're 10, you can't play GTA, but you can play Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yep.
So that's why it's kind of expensive, because it's a very, like, well-loved game. A lot of people want to play that game, which I played a ton of that. I had a ton of fun playing it.
I did as well.
There's a million little jokes. So literally, you can interact with, like, pretty much everything, and there's some kind of joke associated with it.
Back in the day, my original console was a GameCube, and I had the GameCube copy.
Oh, jeez.
And as a kid, I was like, man, I don't think I'll need this anymore. Sold it for like $10.
I think I'd have to look. I don't think I have my PS2 copy anymore either, but it is a fun game. But so a fan is making a mod. His name on YouTube is El Gato del Tejado on YouTube, and he is remastering Simpsons Hit and Run. So he's doing a mod. I don't know a ton about it, but I assume he's doing a mod, so I assume he's just modifying the original game. He mentioned he doesn't have a lot of experience with 3D modeling, so I mean, I would assume it's got to be the original game because he's clearly not modeling the characters. He's just kind of updating the graphics and making everything look nice. But so since he doesn't have a lot of work with 3D animation, something he ran into was all the cutscenes. So he can't animate the cutscenes. He doesn't know how to do 3D animation, so he's just going to do 2D animation.
Which, what a project. Alone.
He literally took the animation Bible for The Simpsons, which you can find online, learned how to draw The Simpsons by Matt Groening's own directions and instructions through the animation Bible, and he's drawing all these 3D cutscenes. He's drawing in 2D accurately. We'll drop a link to the video below, and there's an article too. It's crazy. This man is just making the cutscenes are accurate in 2D.
The talent, the dedication, the time.
Imagine being like, yeah, I don't know how to do 3D animation very well, so I'm just going to learn how to draw The Simpsons accurately from memory. Just like referencing real developer, like animator Bibles to accurately draw them how they draw them in the show. And just being like, yeah, I'm just going to learn how to draw The Simpsons. I'm just going to draw every cutscene accurately in 2D. That's fine.
They're going to look at him pretty soon and be like, hey, one job, guy?
Yeah, really. We don't even need to train this guy. He's already been practicing for the past 6 months rebuilding a PlayStation 2 game.
They're just like, hey, show him the thing. Pull it up. Come on, show him the thing. Just the project he's been working on.
He's like, anyway, so here's 3 hours of cutscenes I did in 2D. And everybody's like, this is astounding. Holy crap. This guy was doing it for free. We weren't even paying this guy. But yeah, I'd definitely check out his channel. Yeah, so it's El Gato del Tejado. And he's uploaded multiple videos about it. And there's progress on it. But I'd drop him a subscribe to him, something like that. So you can learn more about the mod. I think it'd be fun to play someday. I do really like that game. So
I like to see it come up again. It's a great game.
And then, we'll do the whole Bender bit from Futurama where he finds the Bart doll and he pulls the ring and it goes, "Eat my shorts." And he eats the shorts and he goes, shorts. Pretty good. But anyways, why don't you talk about some sadness in the gaming industry?
We're talking about ports, we're talking about updates. Let's talk about something we'll probably never see. And that is a port of Red Dead Redemption 2 for the Xbox Series X and the PS5. So, we had an insider at Rockstar Games leak that they were going to do a Red Dead Redemption 2 port over to the PS5 and Series X, but all progress and development has been shut down.
See ya. For the time being, no PS5 copy of Red Dead 2. I mean, it seems kind of like a big undertaking. The game already looks amazing. What would you even do? Like, you'd have to do like a ton of optimization to this, massive game. I mean, that was like, I feel like when it came out, that was like the biggest game, like file size wise, that you could play or own.
Huge.
It is massive.
I think probably what the port was going to be is a little bit of like PC spec put into it, and then seeing how that would
ray
translate.
Tracing, etc., reflections,
really pushing the system to its limits. I think you might be asking yourself, well, how can we trust a leak? A leak can come from anywhere. It's just a rumor, honestly, right?
Who knows? Maybe the leaker was me, and I told you this before the podcast.
Well, we actually know who the leaker is, in a way.
It's Bob Barker.
Bob Barker.
We know exactly.
From Wheel of Fortune.
No, you got the wrong one.
Oh, the wrong one?
Price is right.
Price is right.
Spay and neuter your pets, man.
We do know who the leaker was. They go by the name Tez2. That's their code name, essentially. They're an insider who has accurately leaked information before when it comes to Rockstar.
Trusted source.
And when asked if we would ever see these versions come to light, they had commented along the lines of that the projects are canceled or halted as of now.
I mean, that's kind of, I feel like it's kind of in line with, I feel like we had maybe talked about this on a news episode previously, but there was the Red Dead original. There were like rumors of a remake coming, like they were going to remaster Red Dead 1.
It was right after the GTA remaster.
Yeah, so GTA Trilogy got remastered, and that was a freaking disaster.
And
so
I think
off the tail of that, they were like, okay, well, we're not going to remaster this until we kind of get our stuff figured out.
Yeah, I think,
and this sounds kind of like the same way. It sounds like Rockstar is just trying to really figure out their whole deal first. They don't want to be like, we're going to port this thing and then screw it up again. Obviously, there's been a lot of bad press recently with them just because the trilogy was very poorly received. So it makes sense to me that they just kind of want to slow everything to a halt and be like, stop, sit down, we're going to figure this out, and we're going to do it the right way in like 6 months or 8 months, or, There's been rumors about GTA 6, too. I mean, A lot on their plate, for sure.
I think with the original Red Dead remaster, it was in the process right after they had released GTA, and then all that horrible, horrible press came their way, and they just canceled it. So we're seeing a lot of that from Rockstar lately, I feel like. A lot of like, hey, we're thinking about remastering this, and they're just like, actually, no.
I mean, there's tons of great games in their library that I would love to see remastered, I mean, people have been calling this forever a Bully remaster.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. I'm like, Bully's like on the top of that list.
Yeah, that game's freaking amazing. All right, let's get into some quickie news.
Woo!
Today, Xenoblade 3 and Digimon Survive came out today.
I'm sorry, there was a Xenoblade 3 that was coming out.
Correct, and it's out today. There's a super special edition, like a big box special edition. They did it for 1 and 2. You can only get it through the Nintendo website. Yikes, good luck. That'll be really expensive and impossible to find, I'm sure. And Digimon Survive, I don't know a lot about it, but I hear it's like dark. For a Digimon game, is like your Digimon like die or something. It's like intense, I think.
I think people forget how dark Digimon honestly is.
Yeah, it was originally pretty dark. So I mean, you get all these freaking Infomon's gonna get out there and he's gonna leak my feet pics to the FBI or something, man. You can't let these digital monsters go unchecked.
They don't worry about Josh's social security number. They only care about the feet pics.
In our modern society, Digimon would be like such a freaking threat. They're like, holy, Edward Snowden would be in Russia. He'd be like, Infomon. The Homeland Security is abusing Infomon's power to steal your information. Up next, I'm buying a Series S.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. When I was growing up, I had an NES. My dad, I don't know how, he said he won these. I don't know where or how he won these. He's like, yeah, I won an NES and a Super Nintendo, like in box. He still had the boxes. They're mine now. I own them. The NES doesn't work because it's a 40-year-old toaster brick of technology. Super Nintendo is sitting in box and it looks freaking glorious. So I was like a Nintendo kid growing up, and then I didn't get a 64. Dad got me a PS1. Played the crap out of PlayStation 1, got me a PS2, played the crap out of PS2 till the laser burnt out, got me a slim PS2, was digging it, right? You would think, my parents are really inconsistent. You would think I would get a PS3. Anyways, he got me a 360 for Christmas. I had an amazing time with the 360. Played Borderlands 2 for like 400 hours on my 360.
I mean, just think about it.
Listening to my Cage the Elephant albums that I burned onto my hard drive.
Just think about it. Your parents were like, he needs to be well-rounded in gaming.
I didn't even play any of the stuff I didn't have internet. I couldn't play Call of Duty or Halo with people.
No.
I'm just playing single. I downloaded. I lived in like a rural middle of nowhere. I downloaded Battle Block 3 Theater on Wi-Fi. I wanted it so freaking bad because I was like a terminally online child who was on Newgrounds nonstop. Took me like 3 days to download on our awful Wi-Fi to freaking download Battle Block Theater. It was awful, but holy crap did I have an amazing time. I played so much Battle Block Theater.
Red Ring of Death. No Red Ring of Death.
I had a 360. It did Red Ring, but we had to do the thing. We sent it in to Microsoft, and they sent us like a refurbished one or something, and it worked. I've heard of people who it Red Ringed. They got one back from Microsoft, and they had to send it in like 5 times till they got one that worked. Which I can't. That sounds so bad, but like mine.
I remember living those glory days.
Mine Red Ring. We sent it in. And they sent me one, and it worked, and it was great. So then I had that. Okay, and then it wasn't like I had a 360. Then I had nothing until like I don't know, maybe like 4 years ago when I got a PS4 and a Switch. Like I did not have a monitor. I missed the whole like PS4 generation till like the last couple years here. I've always been more of a PlayStation guy. But I got an Xbox One from a friend recently that I got rid of. I just wasn't using it very much. But I'm excited to have a Series S, or as I call it, my Starfield machine. I'll play Starfield on my Series S. That's all I really care about. But I'm not going to buy much stuff. I think I'm probably just going to get Game Pass and maybe some of the like backwards compatible old stuff, buy Fable 2, stuff like that I played on my 360.
All the goodies.
All the goodies, yeah. Hexic HD is free, I think. I'm going to play some free arcade hits. Yes, sir.
You gotta download Peggle?
Feeding Frenzy 1 and 2. Oh, absolutely. Yep. I'm going to download Peggle. Yeah. No. So I'm excited for that.
I think that's like the 10th time we brought up Peggle.
Dude, Peggle's fun, man. Dude, those stupid freaking casual game, PopCap games, stuff like that. All that casual stuff is fun, man. I legitimately, I don't know if it was on, I maybe paid for this, but it might have been on Game Pass. When I had the Xbox One, I was playing Bejeweled 3. It's just like I had like one Saturday afternoon where I played a ton of Bejeweled 3, and I was like, that was fun. Let's talk about movies for a second, because we like doing that. There's an anime sale through Sentai Filmworks. I don't know how long it goes for, but there's some crazy stuff. I bought like $28 of anime, and it was like 7 Blu-rays that are like complete seasons of anime.
Yeah, there's like dollar stuff on there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Like 13 episodes of anime for like $4 on Blu-ray. You legitimately just can't beat it. Even if the show sucks, you were paying like you look at the discount. They're like normally $60, now $1. Like. Freaking go buy it and sell it on eBay, man. It doesn't matter. You'll make money. This stuff is crazy. And then going off of that, too, there is kind of a boutique distributor of weird Blu-rays, horror stuff, but not just that, also 80s stuff. Arrow Video is having their Camp Arrow Video sale, which is half off. Big selection of stuff till August 22nd. So you got pretty much to the end of this month to buy some goodies.
Barnes & Noble finishing up their Criterion sale.
Criterion sale. By the time you're hearing this, will probably be over. But yeah, that was last month. November will probably be their next big sale. You might see a flash sale in between then and now. But yeah, keep an eye out for that. I didn't know about this. You said RoboCop Rogue City is a game coming out June 2023 on PS5 and Steam.
Halt, you're under arrest.
Exactly. Stop in the name of the law.
God, it looks so good from like the preview images.
You were like, look at this image. I was like, that just looks like the movie. Like they nailed the like.
Yeah, it's like no, that's the game, man.
Yeah, reviews of Stray are praising the game. A lot of people.
Kitty.
A lot of people like playing as that cat. I know it's also free with the PlayStation Game Pass thing. So I've seen a ton of people getting the platinum for it and doing all that. Except I know Donkey uploaded a video game. Donkey, a YouTuber. He uploaded a video where he was like, "This is fun, but the main thing is the story." He's like, you play as a cat, which is great. People are giving it 10 out of 10 because you play as a cat. He's like, if this was about a human, nobody would care. It wouldn't matter. The reason people are playing this is because you play as a cat.
I mean, why wouldn't you play it? You're a cat.
But he's like the cyberpunk kind of the whole cyberpunk setting feels a little bit tried, right? You know, how many cyberpunk games have we had come out in the past 3-4 years? And then a couple other things you mentioned was the graphics. The main thing about your story is you're a cat. It's like the graphics,
Kitty.
The graphics, the cat gameplay, and the story. Those are your three things. This is not an action-packed game. You're hack and slash. There's no strategy.
I mean, from what I saw, that's kind of like the thing, though, was that it's just meant to be like almost like a walking simulator. Like, that's the vibe I got from it.
Yes.
Like, obviously, there's more to it, but like...
Yes, very story-based single-player aspect, right? But he showed off a bunch of like graphical glitches, like when the cats rub up against each other, the cat freaks out. So he's like, when the main thing is like, oh, I love playing as a cat, well, your immersion can get broken pretty easily if your graphics keep glitching out and freaking out and stuff like that. So it's like if the main draw is playing as a cat, and then the cat doesn't play like a cat half the time because the whole thing's just glitching out, and the cat looks super weird, you gotta break immersion super easily. And it's tough when that's one of your main things about the game is you play as a cat.
Crazy how these cyberpunk games keep like breaking on launch.
Yeah, and it's not like broken, it's just certain animations don't work the way they're supposed to, and you'll jump it. Like he was talking about, like you can knock objects off of shelves and stuff like that, but he talked about they don't have the right weight and stuff like that. Like if you knock a cup down, it falls like slower than a normal cup would, right? Because video game physics. But he's like, it's not satisfying. It's not as satisfying as you would want it to be to like do that. And then I think he was also talking about, I think that might have been it, but I feel like maybe he had mentioned something about the story as well, was just kind of lackluster. Oh, it was about, I remember, it was about how the cat, he didn't like how the cat was written in the story. Like, in the story, they're like, you have to save the world from these head crabs that are going to take over the world, blah, 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 blah. They don't reference you're a cat. Guys, you play as a cat. It should be, the writing should be like, hey, save the world, you're a cat. And the cat would be like, nah, I don't think so. Like, we played Okami. The whole bit about Okami is like the dog is like, everybody's like, hey, Okami, you have to go do stuff. And Okami's like, Amaterasu's like yawning and sleeping on there. Like, Amaterasu's like,
Amaterasu just lies down and doesn't care.
Super sarcastic, like, you play by my freaking rules, right?
Anyways, go check out Donkey, right?
Go check out Donkey, yes. But yeah, the Stray needs more personality. I think that was kind of the
main takeaway.
The main takeaway. Work on the graphics, more personality for the cat. Because if cat saved the world, it wouldn't be on purpose. Like, it would be the cat would be like, oh, whoops, saved the world. Sorry. Next, Netflix Resident Evil adaptation was released. This is supposed to follow the games closer than the Mila Jovovich movies did.
So
I think Wesker's in it, but like it's like they're like Wesker clones or something like that, right?
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet. It's on my to-watch list for sure. I've seen mostly positive things said. Most people are saying, wow, these are very close to what the games are. But I've also had some people say like, nah, it's trash. And I'm like,
the title screen for each episode is a gunshot and it goes Resident Evil.
It's so cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's to be determined.
Maybe it's good, maybe it's not.
Yeah, we'll check back in on this later.
Go watch all 6 movies and then watch the series and then then play all the games and directly compare and contrast which one you like more. Leave us a comment. Which is better, the movies, the Netflix adaptation, or all of the games together? Dead by Daylight Attack on Titan crossover.
That's crazy.
It's just like you're gonna play as a Titan.
Yeah, I guess so.
What you would just crush everyone. You just win, right?
I mean, quickie news. You go find out for yourself.
I just think that's funny. Bayonetta 3 Trinity Masquerade Special Edition comes with a 200-page art book, a display for the entire trilogy with 3 game cases that can all be combined into one like big art piece.
Everyone loves that mommy energy.
I swear to God, John, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen. He turned himself into a pickle. That's all I think of when I think of Bayonetta. Somebody did like a silly meme.
Johnny Mommy for the win.
Okay. Sega Genesis Mini 2 releases in October with Sega CD games and 50 new titles total.
Heck yeah, Genesis! I'm a big Sega guy.
Who wanted this?
I did. I wanted this.
Okay. What, and nobody else? I'm confused about where this game... Okay, Nintendo made an NES Classic. Made a ton of money. What did? They made a SNES Classic. They did not make a SNES Classic. They did not make an NES Classic 2 with like Solomon's Key 2 on it, okay? They were like, okay, well, that did good. We're going to move on to the next one.
Yeah, but now like they're probably checking into like the N64 Classic.
Understand this.
I mean, they're doing that with the Switch right now.
I would buy an NES Classic 2. I would buy a SNES Classic 2.
I would buy a Genesis Classic
I know.
Mini
You're more,
too.
I know you're a Sega guy. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, if PlayStation was like, here's a PlayStation Classic 2, I'd be like, what? Like, just like, you don't release a, like, imagine you came out, you're president, Mr. Sega. You made a Sega Genesis. Now you're like, what if I released a sequel to the Genesis, and it was called the Genesis 2? And you're going to be like, that happened because there's, like, 3 generations.
I was going to say, like, yeah, it's called Model 2.
There's 3 generations of the Genesis. But, like, imagine he released a different console that only played the sequel game. Like, he made, like, like the Wii and the Wii U, right? It was like, okay, here's this. It's kind of the same thing. It's slightly different, but it's not. Like, this is literally just like, we put more game. Why not just send everybody a USB stick? It just, this whole thing is confusing and it really frustrates me. Okay, the Genesis Classic comes with like 40 games or 30 games, whatever, right? Don't make a second one that I have to buy and also plug in and set up to my TV.
But it's like more powerful or something.
Send me a USB stick and say this has 50 more games on it. Plug it in. Make a Sega CD Classic that the original sits on.
It already has that though.
It connects into the Sega CD.
It doesn't do that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So the Sega Genesis 2 should just be the Sega CD portion. Connect your original Genesis Mini to the Sega CD Mini, and then you have like a full setup. And then we'll get, what's the stupid thing you have? The CDX or whatever? The tower?
Not the 32X.
So you get the 32X. You have something else.
Yeah, so, all right. The original Mini had the Tower of Power.
Yes.
Which is the Master System base converter, the 32X add-on, the Sonic and Knuckles cart, and then the Sonic game on top of that, on top of the Model 1 Sega CD. And they call it the Tower of Power.
Yeah, you could build this Tower of Babel console like an affront to God, and all we know is that it's holy, okay?
Yeah,
just
Sega!
When you release a sequel to the console, just give me another piece of the Tower of Power, so then, once we hit the Sega Genesis Mini 6, and I own every Genesis game digitally, I can just have this monstrosity, like a little statuette of the freaking tower of this monstrous Sega Genesis beast. And people are like, what the hell is that thing? And I'm like, it's digitally every Genesis and CD game that they ever made.
You're just like, it's a memoir to my mistakes.
Yeah, and each one cost me $200, and yes, I'm proud to say that. The whole concept seems really stupid.
That would hit a little too close to home.
I just don't like that. If you own the first one, you're gonna have to own a second one, and you'll have to turn one on to play one game, and you'll have to turn one on to play, like, just get a Raspberry Pi at that. But this whole process really pisses me off. You read this to me, and I was irrationally angry. I was like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my entire life.
I was so jazzed for it.
Okay, David Cage's Detroit Become Human is getting a manga called Detroit Become Human Tokyo Stories. Kawaii Des. That's what I don't know. That's what I got. I'm still pissed.
Kawaii Desu!
I'm still pissed off about this Genesis Mini, man. Oh my gosh.
Oh, you just can't move on.
We should have put that. I didn't realize how Hida was going to, but I should put that one at the end. Man, stupid console.
I'm a little excited for this. I've seen some of the gameplay. I've watched a little bit of it go down. Detroit Become Human, very interesting to me.
I thought you were talking about the manga. I was like,
Nah. I'm talking about the game. So I'm interested to see what this manga goes. I read a lot of manga to begin with, so it's definitely going to be part of my collection.
Would you call yourself a mangaka?
No, because a mangaka
is the people who draw.
The people who draw.
See, I lured you into a trap. I already knew what it meant. Okay, let's talk about what we're playing and doing. Well, what I'm doing is being pissed off about this Genesis Mini, too.
I'm going to buy both of them just so you can come over and stare at them.
You're going to be like, look, I'm going to play Kid Chameleon. And then I'm going to be like, that's cool. You're going to be like, look, now I'm going to play Arrow the Acrobat. And you're going to have to turn off your first one. You're going to have to unplug the first one. You're going to have to plug in the second one. You're going to turn on the second one. And you're going to be like, now I can play Arrow the Acrobat. And I'm like, yeah, if you just had a computer, we could do both at the same time. It would eliminate all the hassle.
You know what's great?
If you just owned You could just, instead of having the minis, you can just have a real console that can play any game, any Genesis game you want. What a concept.
You mean like the one I have?
Yeah, I know. It's like, look, I own these 2 consoles, and they play 100 titles from the Genesis library. You know what else plays 100 titles from the Genesis library? A Sega Genesis. just get the freaking console. Like, I get for the Nintendo, Super Nintendo Classic, Super Metroid's like a $70 game. A lot of those games on the Super Nintendo one are expensive games.
All right. Let me try to quell your anger here. It makes sense that, I don't get why they're releasing more Genesis games.
The CD stuff makes sense.
The CD stuff makes sense, but they should have done the 32X stuff, is what they should have done.
Yeah, okay, and there's like, so they released a Neo Geo Pocket, too, or sorry, not Neo Geo Pocket, there was like a Neo Geo, like a mini cabinet you could buy that played Neo Geo games, okay? Something like that, I get the value, because who owned a Neo Geo? Well, probably like 2,000 people in America, like not a lot.
I own a cabinet.
You own a cabinet. How many people owned a Neo Geo Pocket? Again, probably like 50 people in America. So the head of Neo Geo corporate in America, while that lived for like
just
3
a
months.
shack in the middle of like downtown.
Yeah, like 3 months. They're like, what do you do? He's like, I'm the president of Neo Geo. Everybody's like, what the hell is that? Is that a brand of car or something? He's like, no, it's way less cool than that. So stuff like that makes sense, where it's like all these Super Nintendo games, on average, anywhere from like $15 to $100. So it had Earthbound on it, right?
Yeah.
Earthbound's like a $350, $400 cartridge. Okay, there you go, right? Buy this $120 machine and get thousands of dollars of value. We added it up one day at work, and it was like, this is years ago. It was like, yeah, if you wanted to buy all the games on the SNES Classic, it cost you like $3,000 or something, right? Okay, the value's inherent there. And the Genesis has less value, I think, just because less people had it, less people played it. It's less desired than the Nintendo stuff.
Yep. Nintendo definitely won out the console war.
Right. So, an $80 box that plays a bunch of, like... What do you think is the most expensive game on the Genesis Mini one?
Let me pull up the list. I need to know.
What, Kid Chameleon, maybe? Just like a Sonic and Knuckles, maybe? I just feel like, unless I'm missing, like, Castlevania Bloodlines is on it or something like that, man. I just feel like the most expensive game on the Genesis Mini just doesn't come close to, like, a $400 copy of Earthbound. So if you're like, here's an $80 console and it's got 50, $15 games on it, sure, it's a good deal. But if you release a second one, and the second one says, oh, here's even more, here's a bunch more $15 games, like at some point, instead of making 2 separate consoles that are both $80, you should just make one console that can be updated. Like a Genesis Mini that connects to the internet, and then every month they add 2 more games. There you go, right? Like, otherwise we're all going to own freaking 9 Genesis Minis and have look, I own every Genesis game ever made because they released 9 Genesis Minis, That's why I'm mad. I'm mad because it's 2 separate consoles that I have to own and plug in and turn on and off. Like, people talk about not wanting to take, that's why digital's gaining traction. Oh, it's so much work to take a disc out of a console and put a new one in. I say that I'm buying a Series S, right? But like, the whole concept behind it is just like, well, if it's such a pain to switch a disc, why are you going to own 2 different Genesis Minis? Plug one in, turn one on, plug the other in, turn that on.
So I've been going through here and looking at all the prices for the Genesis Mini 1, and the highest one I found, loose, because I'm just looking at loose pricing,
right,
was about $80.
And what is it?
That was...
Castlevania Bloodlines.
No, it's not. It was... Oh, God, where was it? Thunder Force 3.
Thunder Force 3. Sure. So, I mean, like, the value's there, not as much as the Nintendo one.
Yeah,
Nintendo stuff
the
is
first
just
one
expensive.
definitely is here. Hold on. Let's see.
I'm just saying it is less sought after.
I mean, if we're talking about complete versions of these games...
Yeah, like insane. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, it
definitely jumps up.
I mean, same thing with the Nintendo ones. Complete Earthbound is, freaking $1,500, I'm sure, or something like that, right? I don't know. They should just make one big mini. That's what I'm saying. Release one mini that has 400 done. People would pay for that. If you said, here's a Genesis Mini, and it has 250 titles on it, and I want you to pay me $120. People do it in a heartbeat. Absolutely.
All right, so here's the game list so far for the Mini 2. I didn't realize this was going to be such a big topic for us. You got Sega CD, big title there. Shining Force.
Sorry. It just says Sega CD.
Sonic CD.
Oh, sorry. You said Sega CD.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, you were like Sega CD. Big
Sonic CD.
You were like big title. I'm like, what? It's okay. Sonic CD.
Shining Force,
Okay.
which I'm looking up that price right now.
My other point being, the rare stuff, it makes sense to make a Sega CD Mini because nobody, not that many people had a Sega CD. Genesis is pretty common. I feel like, many families back in the day had Genesises. CD is rare. I had a guy say, what the hell is that? At work the other day, I was like, it's a Sega CD. He's like, so does that just play Genesis games? I'm like, no, it plays Sega CD games. He's like, what's the difference? I'm like, they come on a disc and not a cartridge. They're rare. You don't see them too often. Same with 32X. I think it would be a good idea if they did a 32X one because all this rare stuff like the Neo Geo one, I'm fine with there being there's going to be somebody out there who's like, oh, dude, a Neo Geo classic, that rules. I'm going to play all my favorite SNK fighting games, Samurai Showdown, stuff like that, because they were only on the Neo Geo, other than the new stuff. So rare stuff that's hard to find. If we're making digital copies of that you can buy and put in your home, that rules. But then it's a super common thing like we saw with the PlayStation. I mean, PlayStation, their classic just sucked. It was not very good because they were running the European Hertz, not the American Hertz, so they were slower.
Yeah.
The American versions were slower.
I mean, technically the PlayStation Classic is kind of worth its weight in gold as far as an Atlas lover would care about, because Persona Revelation's on there, and granted that's the worst of the Persona games, but that game's $400 right now.
Which is great. It's great that you can own it on this system, even if the system sucks. You know what else is great? Owning Persona Revelations and every other game you want on a hard drive on your computer that you can play at any time. It's not illegal, or it's not legal to do that, usually, unless you already own the game and blah, 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 rip the files and the ISOs.
Rip the file, get the ISO.
Yada, 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 right? People have, and I've seen them built it, Raspberry Pi, just essentially the whole goal of this Raspberry Pi is I put all my game ISOs on it, and I play them. I have a modded Wii. I can play every Pokemon game on my television because it's on my modded Wii, right? There's a market to do these things. You can pay, you don't even have to do it. You can pay people, you can pay someone online $120. You can pay someone online $120 and they'll sell you a Raspberry Pi that has, every game you could ever want on it. So I get why they're doing it. It's a cool little neat mini thing.
Okay,
I just want one thing that does it all, not 5 different things that I have to own.
I get it, but at the same time, it's kind of a novelty thing. People like their novelties. I like my novelties.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The other draw of this is it's kind of a knick-knack. Look, it's a baby version of the console, right? I would love to own the PlayStation Classic, not to play it, but to put it on a shelf and be like, look, it's a baby PlayStation 1.
So I was going through the game list, and I'll mention all of them here, but the one stood out right away, and I was looking at it, and that was Shining Force 4, or also called Shining Force CD in the States here, and that is loose right now, $270.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're putting some big things on there. I think, what's the other really big Genesis game that they could throw on there? Is Soldier of Century or something. It's an Atlas game.
Sure,
it's
yep.
$1,000.
I've heard of that. It's a very expensive game.
But here's the list so far that we have. Sonic CD, Shining Force CD, Sylphid, Mansion of the Hidden Souls, Night Striker, which is a Mega Drive exclusive, a Mega CD drive exclusive, The Ninja Warriors, Afterburner 2, Outrun, which is a very sought after Genesis game.
Yeah, that's a $50 game.
Outrunners, Virtua Racing, also sought after for Genesis people, Super Hang On, Sonic 3D Blast, sought after game.
Sure, yep.
Shining in the Darkness, Vector Man 2, The Ooze, Bonanza Bros, Alien Soldier, sought after game. Rainbow Islands Extra, Splatterhouse 2, sought after game. So I mean, they're throwing a bunch on there. Rolling Thunder 2, Thunder Force 4, Fantasy Zone, and Star Mobile. And that's just what's been announced so far.
I was going to say, the one redeeming quality this Sega Genesis Mini 2 has, you said 50 games?
Yep.
That's a ton. That's more than any classic console's had so far. I think 30s is kind of what we've been looking at, 20, 30-ish.
And here's the big thing for me. The one redeeming thing out of this is that Sega CD stuff is hard to find.
Yeah, and that's I agree with that.
It's not only hard to find though, it's hard to find intact stuff because Sega CD and Sega Saturn are notorious for disc rot. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're rotting faster than any other disc on the market. I think GameCube is like right after it because they're so thin, right? But so Sega releasing these games on this platform will essentially eternalize them forever at this point, as long as someone maintains it and keeps it around.
Right. And like I said, I don't mind them cataloging, digitalizing this rare stuff and releasing the rare stuff on a console that you can buy and own and play these expensive games. I'm okay with that. Okay? But it's like then we're hitting like, here's a console, like I said, the PlayStation 1 one. Yes, you have Persona, but then it's like, here's just some kind of like Final Fantasy 7. Okay, I mean, sure, owning it physically, it's going to run you about $30. You can buy Final Fantasy VII, the original, on Steam for like $5. Final Fantasy VII's on everything. A lot of those games exist on other consoles that it's not hard to get some of those games. And some of those games you just don't want to play. Not every game is going to be a hit, right?
Yep.
They're going to put 50 games on a console. Well, you're not going to be like, wow, each one of these is amazing in its own way.
Yeah, you could say 30 of them are going to suck for you, right?
Yeah, and you're just not going to play them, right? Absolutely. So, I mean, I'm fine with them releasing, here's, 50 rare games. Each of these games is $100 a piece. Like, that's amazing to have that. But if we're like, here's a bunch of really common stuff, it's the stuff you want to play, but you can also already play it on every other system you own, kind of pass, right? That's one of the multiple reasons I feel like the PlayStation Classic didn't really take off.
I think what all these classic systems were trying to do was emulate the original, right? In some way, shape, or form, that's like the idea behind it, because in the gaming community, everyone says you can't beat the original game on the original system. It's what it was meant to work on. It's what works best with it. When we update it to these newer things, there's always like some weird thing that just doesn't quite add up. For Super Smash Bros., the original, God, that's been ported on every Nintendo thing ever, right?
Yeah, every Nintendo system has a Smash Brothers.
But you can't be as frame perfect as you were on the NES. So people still play on the NES to get that frame perfectness.
You mean the 64? Are you talking about Mario or are you talking about Smash?
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant Super Mario Brothers.
Sure.
Just
yes.
the original.
Yes.
Same thing, we bring up Smash.
Everybody's playing Melee.
Everyone's playing Melee because it was the best one, and they're playing, it on a GameCube. They're not playing it on a Wii because it was meant to work on GameCube hardware specifically.
Yep.
So I think that's what they're trying to capture is this, like, we're going to try to get as close to the original as possible, and maybe the hardware that they're using in these is for that. Maybe it's just some cheap hardware that they found and can do it. It's hard to say which way or the other without tearing them apart, right?
I think at the end of the day, I'm less of a fan of the minis, the classics, and I'm more of a fan of the Nintendo Online program, right? So it's like, pay your $15 for the online, $20 for the online for a year or whatever. And then included with that, here's 70 classic games. Genesis, NES, Super Nintendo, 64 was added, right? Here's all this stuff. It's included with your stuff, and every month we'll add, 2 games a piece or something like that, right? I'm more of a fan of having it all in one place. Think of it as like streaming services, right? Each mini is like a streaming service. Well, I need Netflix because it has Stranger Things, and I need Amazon Prime because it has The Boys and Invincible, and I need Hulu because it's got movies that I want to watch, and I need HBO. It's just at a point you have so many streaming services, you're just not going to use them all.
Yep.
And I feel the same with the classics. If you've got 5 classics, what you're going to plug in their SNES Classic, play a game, and then what you're going to unplug it. It's going to go sit on a shelf. You're going to plug in your Genesis Mini, play this for a little, I'd rather have one place that has all my stuff instead of 9 things that have, 50 things. That's just how I feel personally. I get the minis have like a collectible aspect to them. I like them.
I think that's honestly what they're for, is for the people that want to collect them, right?
Right. And they're expensive. A lot of the Nintendo ones are like insanely expensive because they framed it as a limited thing. They said we're gonna, same as the Mario 3D World that just came, or not Mario 3D All Stars. Like, hey, we're releasing this thing that you want. We're making 20,000. Go get them. Like, hey, we're gonna release this new Mario game that has all the Mario games you want to play. It's available for less than a year, and we're gonna stop making it. Right? They're making this artificial scarcity that drives the price way up. So it's kind of like you've got that FOMO, you've got that fear of missing out. While they're releasing Genesis Mini 2, I don't want to miss out because, the original Genesis Minis going for a bit more than it used to, and the SNES Classic sells for $150, $200 online. You know, like they create this artificial scarcity that it makes you say like, I gotta get this before it goes away.
All right. We've talked enough about the mini, I think.
We've talked enough.
We beat the dead horse, right?
We've talked enough about it. I could go for another 3 hours.
So could I.
I could. I'll never stop.
There's lots of opinions. We both have them. It's a great area, honestly, in the most part, because there's going to be people that want, there's going to be people that
get
don't.
The minis. Don't get the minis. Get a Raspberry Pi. Emulate them. Don't emulate them. Get the original consoles. Play the original consoles. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care either way. I just have frustrations with all the, all the little things, the knickknacks start to add up.
But before we head out here, let's talk about things that we were doing. The original aspect of all this.
We were supposed to. Yeah, we spent like the last 30 minutes talking about freaking the Genesis Mini that I'm pissed off about.
So what have you been doing, Josh? Come on, let's get back on track here, right?
I've been mainly watching a lot of movies. Beyond that, I'm kind of all over the place right now. I was really immersed into Ace Attorney. You'll hear that next week a little bit, talking about Phoenix Wright, the first Ace Attorney. I never played it, so I had a great time with that.
Yeah, you dove way deep into it.
I did dive way deep into it, and I'm going to keep diving way deep. I got the trilogy on PS4, so I'm going to dive into the next two, baby. They got the first 3 games on there. I'm very excited for that. Beyond that, man, I played some Isaac recently. Been kind of a while since I went back to that. I played a little Vampire Survivors, which is a PC game where you fight endless waves of enemies. You just kind of stand there, and you level up by defeating them and get upgrades. And it's kind of like it almost reminds me of an idle game in some ways, but it is very fun and engaging and enjoyable. Beyond that, see, I have a PS5 and I just never use it. I just feel really bad. I'm like, I'm gonna play Ace Attorney trilogy, and I've got like Stranger Paradise and like Jedi Fallen Order.
You got the game of the year, and you're not playing it?
Hey man, podcast comes first, man. Too busy saying objection and take that. So not much beyond that. Looking forward to my Series S again, so I can start playing. I played a little bit of Fable 2 before I sold the Xbox One, so probably going to go back to some of that and re-sign up for Game Pass and play some stuff. Slay the Spires on Game Pass. Probably go back into that, start over again on that. I love that game.
I play that all the time whenever we're hanging out at your place. I love that game.
It's a fun game, man. It's tough. It's fun, though. How about you? What have you been playing?
So I started a adventure for me. I started my first attempt at a Pokemon Nuzlocke.
Ooh, spooky. Which one?
I'm playing Diamond. I'm going with that.
The best one.
Yeah,
So out of that,
I'm not playing BDSP. I'm playing regular Diamond.
Out of Pearl and Diamond, I'm a Diamond fan.
I originally wanted to do it on Soul Silver or Heart Gold, but I got some other projects tied up in both of those right now. They're kind of helping each other out, complete a Pokedex. But I picked Turtwig as my starter. I have been the first gym. I put an extra set of rules on for me. So normally in Nuzlocke, each area you can catch a new Pokemon and add them to your team. But for me, I am doing it that I can catch those Pokemon, but I can't use any of them until I beat a gym. So the first gym I had to face with just Turtwig. Now that I've been that gym, I can use one of the Pokemon I've caught. And so I chose a Machop. And after I beat the second gym, I can have a third Pokemon. So each gym I'll gain one, right?
Strong boy.
It's definitely going to be hard. I saw the original Nuzlocke. I knew they're challenging, but I really wanted to put my own little like special twist on it. So here's the hoping that I don't get critted out of battle or make some dumb move where it just costs me all.
They just get nailed on accident. You're like, oh, crap.
I mean, luckily I got Pokemon on the PC that I can, back up and use in case of all failure, right? But, it's going to be tough because, like, a lot of those Pokemon are going to be, like, level 5 or 20, right? And I'll have to train back up to, like, level 60. So
sounds like the dream, right? Just play artificially for a bunch of hours, grinding.
Yeah. Fun to do those challenges. Other than that, I've been playing a ton of Sleeping Dogs.
Nice.
I love that game.
Do you let them lie?
I don't let them lie.
You don't let them lie.
I wake all the dogs up.
Oh, my gosh.
There'd be a bunch of barking. For those that haven't played Sleeping Dogs before, it is a GTA clone, essentially, but with a crazy story, man. You're an undercover cop that digs too deep and becomes part of the gangs. And that's all I'm just gonna leave it there. There's so much more into the game. There's so many more fun things to do.
Is there anything coming out you're looking forward to?
Pokemon Scarlet and Violet coming out in November.
Boring. Who cares, man? Pokemon sucks. No, I'm excited
I'm
for
up
that.
for Pokemon. I'm interested in seeing that RoboCop come out, honestly.
Saints Row comes out soon.
Yeah, remasters, right?
No, it's not a rematch.
No?
It's a new original Saints Row.
Oh, man, I guess I'm going to go waste some hours of my life.
Hope Keith David's in it again. That would make me happy. I hear it's like, has like the map of 2, but the story of like 3, which is kind of good. Because 3, I think, 3 had probably my favorite story.
Really? I love 2 way more.
2's my favorite game in total, but I like the story of 3 more.
I love the ridiculousness that I got amped
2
up
has
to.
my favorite line in the whole series, where Johnny Gat's getting put on trial and they're gonna like send him to the chair.
Yep.
And he's like, the judge is like, "Are you still gonna have that attitude when I roll 50,000 volts through your head?" He's like, "I don't know. Are you still gonna have that attitude when I shove that gavel up your ass?" And then the attorney goes, "My client would like that stricken from the record." Just for the best line in the whole series. But yeah, new Saints Row game I'm excited for. I want to get Digimon Survive just because I like Digimon and I want to support that franchise however I can.
Yeah, it doesn't get enough love. I mean, Pokemon obviously eclipsed them, right?
Here's my thing. I talked to people where I was like, if you could go into a VR world and you could have Pokemon or Digimon, what would you want? Everybody's like Pokemon, which makes sense. But I'm like, at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense because Digimon, the entire premise of Digimon is you go into the digital world. If you're in if there's a Digimon VR game where you went into the digital world and there's Digimon there, dude, you'd be living the freaking anime.
Man.
You'd literally be in the show.
That'd be a tough choice. I would love, I think it'd be crazy to have a Pokemon VR game, right? Imagine the feeling of that, seeing like Pokemon to their actual scale.
What wins for me, and I've seen some people have recreated this in some ways, VR Yu-Gi-Oh! Would, I think, be the best for me. Where you place the card and the monster is summoned, just like in a show. That would be freaking stoked.
There's some dude that did a meme where he's facing Kaiba. He's doing Yugi's voice, and he's like, "All right, Kaiba, for my first play, I will play Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards."
Yeah,
and,
I've seen that.
Kaiba's like, "Very good, Yugi," and he's like, "Next, I will play Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards."
Just plays Pot of Greed.
He just takes it off and puts it back on.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Kaiba's like, "You can't do that." And he's like, "And then I'll play Pot of Greed and draw 2 cards."
It just keeps playing.
Oh, that's the best one.
But yeah. Well, I think that's going to wrap it up for here. When we went way longer. We were expecting this. We were like, man, I hope this news episode's long. We freaking
we were hoping
it
it would reach 30 minutes. That was our goal today.
Yeah, man, you pissed me off with that Genesis Mini enough that I just went for 25 minutes. So.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We have links down below.
Emails down below. Let us know what you feel about the Genesis Mini 2. Looking for Goblin Commander info. Let me know about that in the comments or in an email, and we will talk to you next time. My name is Josh.
And I'm Alex.
Bye-bye!
Goodbye, everyone!
The one last thing I'm going to say about this before we go. Sports